Hello and welcome to Maki's Closet. On today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with you a requested video of how to draft and sew a deep neckline inbuilt corset with an inverted basque, and also how to create a skin tone effect for your corset. So if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit on the subscribe button and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always supporting my channel. So let's start. So first, we are going to be starting with the front pattern, and I'm going to be making use of my bra cup and hemming gum. So for the yoke part, I cut out 2 pieces and I added 1/2 inch round for the front part of my cup, and I ironed gum stay to the lining. And also on the B cup, I added 1/2 inch round, iron gum stay to the lining. And on this part, which is the center, I cut around 1/2 inch round because I'm going to be joining it. And this is the fabric I'm using a doll face. The best you can use to create a skin tone is a crepe, but I have this color at home, so I decided to use it. And also I iron gum stay on the lining, and I went ahead to cut out a black lace also that I will be placing on top. On this part, I added 1/2 inch on the top, round it also, and I didn't add at the side because I've already added my sewing allowance. So you can go ahead and use your hemming gum to laminate your lace on this fabric, but because this lace is a stretchy one, I will just stop stitch it on my lining, which is the doll face. So you can use a skin tone crepe also for this. First, we are going to start working with the center piece, and to work with the center piece, I'm going to open it up, keep my lining aside. So after opening it up, this is what I have. As you can see, I notched this part where my yoke is going to stop. So I'm just going to place the fabric the right side facing front, and I'm just going to go ahead and top stitch it. So just the same way I'm going to top stitch on this fabric, I'll also do it on the side. So if you're using a lace that is not so stretchy, you can go ahead and use your hemming gum to laminate it on it. By the time you iron it, it's going to dissolve and it will stick to the fabric. So I'm done attaching it on my fabric, and this is what I have. And as you can see, my lace is stretchy, so I'll just go ahead and join both sides with 1/2 inch. So whatever I'm doing, I'm also doing to my lining piece. So after I'm done joining, this is what I have, and the next step I'm going to take right now is to create boning channels on this part. And to create my boning channel, I'll place with 1/2 inch, flip it into the fabric this way, and top stitch. So I'm using 1.5 inches. You can go ahead and double the fabric you're going to work with. So I'll just create this on this side and also create it on the other side. So after I'm done creating it, this is what I have. And next we'll be working on the cup, and I'll just go ahead to unpin my cup. And as you can see, I have gone ahead to also join my lining, and I'm just going to unpin my cup, and I'm going to open it up. So while opening your cup, please be careful so that you don't misplace it. So I went ahead to notch the part that is going towards the yoke part so that it will serve as a guide and I don't make any mistake. And I'm just going to place the lace that I cut out on each part of this cup. So, and I've already gone ahead to iron gum stay on the lining piece of this. So after that, I'll also do the same thing to the lining part, and also on the B cup, I'm also going to follow the same process to open up my cup, and I'll go ahead to place the net on it this way. So after doing this, I'm just going to go ahead and go over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to join my cup with 1/2 inch, and I'm going to repeat it for both sides of my cup and also on my lining. So after I'm done joining, this is what I have, and I went ahead to top stitch at the sides of the cup. Now we are going to be attaching our already made cup to the cup that we just joined, and I'm going to be sewing a 3 inches dart intake on my cup. So after I'm done sewing it, the reason why I did this is for my cup to sit very well. So the cup I used, my cup size is 33.5, and I went ahead to use 34. So it's best to use a cup that is bigger than your bust if you want it to really cover your bust. But if not, if you want a push-up effect, you can go ahead to use your cup size or a cup smaller than your bust. So I'll go ahead and place my hemming gum on the cup, and I'll place my fabric on it. After I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead to iron it out. So another method of attaching your cup is also stitching your cup to your material. So but I'm going to be using my hemming gum. So after I'm done doing that, this is what I have on both sides, and I'm just going to trim out the excess cup I have at this part of this cup. And next step is to join my cup to the body of the corset. So to join this to the body of the corset, you find the middle where you joined the part on your corset, and you're going to place your cup on it. Make sure it is that part that you have joining that you're placing on that part also, and I'm going to pin it. So if you're joining your cup this way, it is very easy for you. You're not going to have much stress. All you're going to do is just to pin down your cup. So I'll go ahead and I will pin my cup to the body of my corset, and after pinning this part, this is what I have. I'll repeat the same process to this part. So while pinning your cup, if it's not aligning, please notch the space on the body of your corset, the space where your cup will be fitting into the body of your corset. So after pinning, this is what I have, and I will go over to the sewing machine and I will repeat the same process for this other part, and I will stitch with 1/2 inch. So after I'm done stitching with 1/2 inch, this is what my corset is looking like at this point. Next step, I will be introducing the yoke of the dress, and to introduce it, this is what I have, and I have double yoke. I cut out 2 pieces because I want the neckline to be double. So I added 1/2 inch here at this part and at the lower part for joining also. I'm just going to go ahead to open up the net that I have, and this is what it looks like, and I'm going to place this on it also. Make sure it's matching, and I'm going to go ahead to stitch with 1/2 inch at the neckline, and also when I turn it, I'll be stitching this other side. So after I'm done stitching, I'll just go ahead to trace out the neckline this way, and I'm going to flip it. So next, I will be ironing this neckline. I'm going to iron it, and I'm going to go ahead to top stitch it so that when I'm stitching, I won't have issue of my yoke moving, and it might make it more difficult for me. After I'm done stitching up my yoke, the next step is to attach it to my corset. So I'm just going to place my yoke this way, and I'm going to be pinning it with 1/2 inch. I'm going to pin it with 1/2 inch around the neckline, and you're going to be careful while pinning this also. So after I'm done pinning it, this is what I have at the neckline of the corset this way. And what I'm going to do right now is to just go ahead and I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch. After I'm done stitching with 1/2 inch, this is what I have, and I'm going to go ahead to remove the pin, and I'm going to place this other corset. Make sure the lower part is meeting, and I'm going to start pinning my corset. And also, before I start pinning, I'm going to make sure that the yoke aligns with what I have at the cup part. It is very important before you start pinning. So I'll just go ahead and I will pin my corset. So also while pinning at this part, please be careful before you pin the wrong part of the yoke to the cup. So after I'm done pinning, so please at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit on the subscribe button, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and leave your comment at the comment section. This is what I have after I'm done pinning, and I'm just going to go ahead to stitch on the sewing machine. So and I'm going to be introducing my back. So just the same way I joined my cup, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I will join the cup of the lining piece. So this is the cup of my lining piece right now, and I'm going to be joining it to the yoke at the back. So I'm going to flip my corset to the back this way, and now I will be introducing the lining on it. Now before I stitch the lining to it, I'm going to make sure it aligns, and I'm going to flip it to the back this way. So I'm going to take note where the cup stopped, so I'm going to start from that part from my lining. So I'll just start from that part for now, and I'll be joining the other parts later. So I'll just go ahead and I will pin my cup part of my corset to the cup part of my lining. So this is like the most important part of this corset, and you have to be careful. Now you have to pin only the ½ inch that you used in joining your yoke to the lining of one part to the lining of the other part. You have to separate the other side of the corset from this. If not, you're not going to have a good result. So I'm just going to flip it to show you what I mean. So after doing that, this is how it's going to be, and you're just going to turn it this way, and you're going to go over to the sewing machine, and you're going to start stitching. So you're going to stitch from this part with ½ inch. You're going to sew with ½ inch. You're going to go around. When you're heading to the joining at the middle, you're going to sew tiny to that point. So after I'm done sewing, I'll just go ahead to flip out my corset. So this is what this part looks like, and after that I will be sewing the other side also. Now also to stitch on the other part, I'm going to bring the lining piece, and I'm going to place it on it this way. And if you notice where that yoke stopped, that's where I'm going to place it, and I'll make sure this part aligns, and I'll pick my lining from that point and I will pin it down. So you have to be careful at this part before you pick another part of the corset to join. So you're going to stitch also with that ½ inch that you stitched already to the neckline. So you're going to continue pinning till you get to the upper part of the yoke. So sorry, my video actually cut at this part and I didn't notice that the other part, the upper part, was not showing. So I'll just go ahead and stitch with ½ inch. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have. So flipping it to the back, this is what I have. Now we are going to join these parts of the corset, and I'm going to stitch with ½ inch, and also on the lining piece I'm going to pick it from that point and stitch with ½ inch. So after I'm done stitching, now I'm going to be creating the boning channel on this part, and I will fold in first place and I'll stitch with half, fold it over to the other side, and I will top stitch with ½ inch. So after I'm done top stitching, this is what I have. So I'm going to flip it to this side and I'm going to stitch with ½ inch. Also flip it to the other side and I'm going to stitch with ½ inch on this side also. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have for the front part of my corset. And next we'll be sewing the back pattern, but before I do that, you're also going to pass a boning into this, but I'm not going to pass it right now. And if you notice, I have a mistake at that lower part, so what I'll do is just to fold in my corset, and I'm going to trim that part and make it align with the other parts. So after I'm done doing that, I'll open up my corset, and this is what I have. So next we'll be moving over to the back pattern, and this is what my front pattern looks like. Before we go over to the front, I'll just cut a little of my lace and I will be attaching it on the upper part of my corset this way. So you can go ahead to use gum and place on it. So you can, even after sewing it, you can do this, that is if you're using a gum, but I'm just stop stitching on it. So I'll just go over to the machine and follow the shape right now and top stitch on it. After I'm done top stitching on it, this is what it looks like, and we'll be moving over to the back pattern. And on my back pattern, on the yoke part, I went ahead to add ½ inch round on it. And after that, I'm just going to unpin, and we're going to be working on the yoke first. So I didn't add at the sleeve side, so don't add ½ inch there. And I'm going to go ahead to open up my pattern this way, and I will open the lining also on it, and I will use the lining to turn it to the right side. So I'll go ahead and stitch on the neckline, and on this part I'll leave the lower parts, and I'll also do this at the other side. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have. So this is what I have after I'm done stitching, and I'm going to go ahead to notch all my yoke at the upper part and also at the lower part of the yoke. Next step is to flip it to the right side. So I'm just going to do the same for the both sides of the yoke at the upper part. After I'm done turning it, this is what I have, and I added a little loop at the back. So the next step is to go ahead and unpin my back pattern. So I'm going to go ahead to open it up first, and I'll place my lining apart. So whatever I'm doing to the lining, to the main fabric, I'm also doing it to the lining. So I'm just going to open up this other part and place also. Now I'll go over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch it with 1/2 inch. So I'll also go ahead and remove this label on it with iron. That is after I'm done sewing. So this is what I have, and after I'm done sewing, this is what I have. And right now I'll be placing my yoke part on the lining. So where I joined my back pattern, that is where my yoke will start, and I will place the front side of my yoke facing the front side of my fabric, and I will go ahead to stitch with 1/2 inch. After I'm done stitching with 1/2 inch, this is what I have. So after this, I will be creating a loop at the back. So I just went ahead to fold in this material. So if you're going to use an eyelet, you're going to be doing that after you're done sewing. So I'll go ahead and I will be marking where I'll place those loops. But before I do that, I'll cut out about 2.5 inches. I'll cut as many pieces that I need for this loop at the back. So I'll continue cutting. So once I'm done cutting the right amount that I need about 8 to 10 pieces for each part of the back. Next step I'll take is to start marking. So at the upper part of my back, I'm going to mark 0.7 inches because I'll be stitching in 1/2 inch inwards, and you want your loop to start immediately after that 1/2 inch you've sewed inwards. And after that, I'll continue marking 1.5. so that will be the place I will be placing the loop that I have made. So I'll mark it on this part and also mark it on the other part. Now I'm going to start placing the loop on that line. So remember, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to also do it on the other side. So your loop should be facing inwards, and the opened part of your loop should be facing outwards. And I'll go ahead to stitch and hold it down. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have, and I'm going to go ahead to place the lining to turn it. So to place the lining to turn it, I'm going to place it this way, and I will bring the lining piece and I will place it on it. So I ironed gum stay on my lining piece, but it's moving, so by the time I'm done top stitching, it's not going to also move. So I'll just stitch on the sides, on the upper part, and also on the other side. So after I'm done stitching, this is what my back part looks like. So next, I'll just run 1/2 inch on this part and sew about 1/2 inch twice here, and that is where I'll be creating my boning channels for the back. So with this, we'll call it a wrap on this particular video. Join me in the next part where we'll be doing the other stitching of this video. If you haven't yet subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thanks.